All right. Hopefully this works this time. I know it was working last time, but people don't know that they have to refresh their screen, so it's just annoying to watch everyone's screen no sound. So I might as well just restart it. All you gotta do is refresh your browser. But that's all right. I'll refresh the stream. I'll fix it at the core. All right. So we are back, and let's jump back into it. So Friday highs, we're going to go speed around now because we've lost about 15 minutes of time. 25,803, 25,850, 25,850. Careful inside this zone today. You can see when we failed back under that yesterday, we saw this downside pre-mark or after hours. Really, after failing back under that 25,930 above, that was also very important up there. So I am very cautious of failures inside of this zone today, which also lines up perfectly with the large term wedge, right? So you can see right here, large term wedge, supply zone, cautious of this area rejecting, okay? That's the moral of the story. The only way I'd look for upside today is if you reclaimed 850, all right? If you got back above these highs, little ripper, reclaim ripper, back above 850. That for me is the only long that I would look for on the intraday. That or a move lower, right? So if we don't move lower and move higher from here, I would look for a reclaim of 850. If we move lower from here, then there are demand levels to be watching below. So to the downside, I would be looking for the holds, of course, at the daily 50 right here, 25,661, and this 25,716 zone. You can see previous highs, previous highs, previous lows, previous lows. So inside of that zone, I think that is a very possible demand, right? If you pull back to that area, you could definitely have a hold in that spot. So that could be a nice spot to look for a pullback long inside of a key demand area. Demand, 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 previous highs, previous highs, previous holds, right? A lot of action in that zone. So that's something I would be watching. If we sort of pull back today and hold here, that could be a nice reset for the upside move. Now, the ultimate short and where I think you really want to get aggressive today would be under the daily 50 at 25,661. I believe that anywhere inside of this channel right here would be very scalp-like and very short-term opportunities. So if you are trading south of 850 and trading north of 660, then I believe you are in a very tight channel, right? You're just sort of trading within some major previous reactions. Major reactions here, major reactions here. You're trading within that channel. So inside of there, I would assume sort of tight, tight consolidation. If we get above 850 and hold above it, I like upside. If we go below 660 and move lower, I like downside. For continuation inside of here, I like scalping, all right? So this is sort of what I, how I would set up my either futures trades or maybe an options trade for a continuation move outside of that zone. So that's what I'm looking at. That's where I'm going to be focused on today. I think your best trading opportunities come outside of this zone right here. Anything inside of that, I think, has opportunities to sort of pop and fade or drop and pop and just sort of stay centralized. Okay. Let's go to the S&P 500. So here on the S&P 500, on the hourly chart, we can see, or actually on the 30-minute chart, we can see that we have broken the uptrend, right? We have broken this uptrend from Friday of last week. We had a nice uptrend sort of flowing to the upside. We pushed higher into the 7,000 level yesterday, rejected the all-time high at 710, and broke that downtrend, or broke that uptrend into end of day yesterday. Really nice. I mean, a really nice rejection play on the ES yesterday. And I'll actually show you where once we get to the SPY, I'll show you how sexy. There was a little break and retest rejection yesterday that was just special. But here on the hourly chart, right, this is what I'm watching. So this is what I want you guys to be cautious of today. I want you to be cautious of this zone right here. I think this is the most important zone of the day. It is these highs. 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 It is these highs that we're trading under here today. I mean, that is a massive spot, right? Rejection, 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 rejection. What do we do there today? All right. That is the big $1,000,000 question. What happens when we pop back into all of these previous fails? Do we hold above it? Do we fail back under it? We're under it now, but you can see we're getting a little pop into it here. So what happens here? This is going to be so important today. If we fail like this, if we fail like this, if we fail like this right here and see this to, create a little bear flag downside move, I think that is definitely a little bit of a nasty reaction and could definitely help the market flow lower. I would say towards at least this 69.32, possibly even towards the gap level at 69.13. Now, anything is possible, right? This is what you have to remember. If we get above this level, if we hold above this level and reclaim, right? The bulls are strong out of the gates and reclaim this spot, turn this back into support, turn these highs back into new lows. That instantly flips very, very bullish. So the reason why it's either very bearish or bullish at this level is because this is such a major level. There's so many previous reactions here. So a flip back over this definitely, I'd say moves you back towards that 69.85, maybe back towards that 7,000 again today. If you see this fail and get smacked, then that is definitely a sign that you are rejecting back under these highs. So please watch this zone very carefully. The last thing I'll say is watch 69.50. 69.50 has been a very important level lately, and on data from Tuesday. On Tuesday, we had that data at 9:45, and on that data, there was an 1,100 lot order on Bookmap that filled here, and it was a very influential level on Tuesday of this week. So if we go back to Tuesday of this week, and we look at 69.50, look at how important this 69.50 level was on Tuesday. There was a huge order here that got filled at 69.50 on this push higher, 1,100 lots on the ES. We came back to that exact spot later in the day and bottom ticked it, and we've held above that level ever since, right? And you can see that we are sort of just sitting on that spot today. So 69.50 could be a little level of support, right? It looks like it is right now, and it could keep the market higher. So that's something to be aware of. But let's watch this area, 69.63, 69.57, these highs from Monday, right? Do you fail back under the previous highs of the week from Monday like this, or do you get back above them? That's the question today, okay? That's the big question. Let's go to the SPY. So the SPY, same picture here, right? We have the uptrend that broke yesterday. So if we draw out our uptrend from these lows right here, and we draw this out, you can see I'm going to grab, hold on. I'm going to grab this low here on this uptrend. So grabbing this low, dragging it higher, you can see we broke that uptrend. So let me go ahead and get that a little bit cleaner for you. Let me see, do I grab it from this low? No, you grab it in this low, grabbing that low, yep. And so you sort of had this uptrend here that got broken, right? So very important. You broke that trend yesterday on that downside move. Now, you can see today, if we go to the 15-minute chart, take a look at where you're trading back into. You have rejections, rejections, support, support, and what happens right here. So important today. Very clean price action yesterday. Very nice and very clean structure, right? Look how clear it is to read the structure on the SPY here, right? Nice structure, nice structure, nice structure. Here's your structure, right? It's really clean. So do we turn yesterday's lows into highs? That's really it. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? That's really as simple as the answer, or what you need to answer today. Do yesterday's lows and Monday's highs turn into lower highs? If that is yes, right? If that answer is yes, then I think you look for downside, right? Towards these lows and maybe towards that 684. If the answer is no, and it holds as support again, like this, right, and leaves behind trap sellers here, then I think you go higher, right, to 691, 692 again. So it's all about the reactions here today. And the job as traders, right, our job as traders is to monitor price action. It is not to predict. It is not to, say, oh, I know what's going to happen here today. We're going up, right? It is not to predict. That's not the goal. The goal is know your level and read price action. That's the goal. And use that education and knowledge that you have reading price action to decide what is happening at the key inflection point, all right? That's your goal. So let's see what happens. Right now, we can see it's actually starting to get faded right there, right? Look at that. So that level, absolutely an important spot. I wanted to show you guys one last thing just to give you a little break and retest, just sort of give you some break and retest, a sexy, beautiful break and retest. Just wanted to show you one, showcase one, put it in the textbook. Here you go, guys. I mean, this provided, I don't even want to know what this provided on the SPX yesterday. Here's your low of day from yesterday at around 10 o'clock. Now, the only downfall of this sexy break and retest is you would have had to been sitting in front of your computer about the entire day to catch it. But you can see right here, previous low, right there, 691.10, low of day, right? Look what happened when you came back into that level. Break, retest, bam. Like, that's the type of continuation that I love to see. If we can get more of this, man, I can get back into trading options with a lot of confidence. All right, but we're just what we've been seeing lately, rather than getting this, right? What have we been getting? We've been getting this. This is what we've been getting right here. This, right? And then just a total trap at the lows, right? So no continuation. So I'm just very happy to see that this actually finally played yesterday, because you actually got volume and momentum behind the move that was going on. God forbid we have a little bit of momentum behind a singular move, right? You saw it yesterday and today. You saw that volume come in. You saw it was like, okay, wow, the market is finally flowing. Like, it feels like we're finally in some kind of a flow. So man, that was beautiful to see. What we've been usually getting is some kind of low volume drop below the lows, a couple low volume bullshit candles, and then just straight back up, trapping everything down here, right? And that's why I've been trading a little bit more futures, because that just, it's tough, right? It's a little bit tough to have tight risk and to, be clean and keep it clean when you have those types of nasty fake outs of the lows, right? This is just awesome. Awesome low right there. Break, retest, rejection. So sexy. So clean. So hopefully we get more of that, man. Hopefully we start seeing a little bit more of that, because if we do, I think you're going to get a nice market, nice action. Today, let's watch these lows. If we reclaim them, which it looks pretty strong right now, you probably go higher, right? Guess where you'd probably test? You'd probably come back up and test that 691 spot, the same spot from this rejection from yesterday, right? Okay, QQQ. Nice, yeah, sort of reclaiming here the QQQ. You can see right here, not a bad hold. So we have highs, we have highs, we have highs, we have highs, and we have these lows. So not bad, not a bad hold. And that is really where you have to hold at 620. Now, what I'm cautious of today is some of these previous highs here, and we're starting to actually get above them. So we might see a little bit of a move, but here's your high, right there, and you're actually starting to get slightly above that level. So this is good for the moment. Let's see if we can hold above this 623 spot today on the Qs. If we can, similar to the SPY, you might see it move back towards that 625 spot. Very possible. We do have economic data here in about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. So let's see what that economic data does on the QQQ. And then let's reassess if we need to. So if you guys could, please press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We only have 400 likes today. I think the live stream dying definitely killed the stream today, but that's all right. If you guys could, please press that like button. I'd appreciate that. The screen is darker than usual. That is definitely not the case, man. So that's got to be on your end. I cannot make my screen darker. Okay, so you're breaking above these spots. So the thesis of downside is possibly invalidated here. We are still below these highs, which is something to be careful of. So we are still below those highs from the overnight. Let's see if this pop holds up. ES. Okay, so the ES is still below. Yeah, okay, so here's where you really need to get above, guys. You need to get above this Monday high. That's for me the spot right there. I think if you can reclaim that Monday high, I would say the thesis definitely flips to the upside trade, right? Above Monday's highs. Right there. Right there. Monday high. 69.63. Okay? What's Monday highs on Nas? Monday's highs, that's all the way down here. So you're well above Monday's highs. I would say for the Nasdaq, it's these 25,850 highs. And look at that. You're getting a, okay, and you're failing right there on the Nasdaq. What did the ES do? Okay. Yeah, so this spot is interesting. This is an interesting spot. So let's be careful in here. The screen is blurry. You got to change your YouTube resolution, my friend. You need to go to your YouTube resolution. You need to put it to 1080p. Okay, so you just popped and faded right in our supply zone. Yeah. So that's a little bit sketchy. Yep. Okay. All right. So I think our thesis, I think our supply zones are valid here today. I really do. I like them. Look at this reaction. Yeah. If you guys could, please press that like button for me, man. Help me continue to grow this channel. We're getting a little bit lazy on the likes lately. Okay, so big spot. All right, let's continue into some equities. SMH got to hold this spot here, and it's holding quite nice, actually. Look at this SMH strength. Not bad. Perfect, actually. Here's your SMH, 381.50, 383. That's a must-hold high. It is holding right now, so that is good for the market. If semis can hold up here again, market can maintain. So that's very clear. Watch that 381.50, 383 zone. Big spot. If that holds, that's good, right? That's your retest of these highs. If we fail 381.50, then we trade to 375, all right? All right, let's go to the IWM. IWM is giving us the pullback that we were looking for, right? What were we looking for on the IWM? We were looking for this level to reject. We were looking for it to come back down to this 253, 250, 350, right? Retesting these highs. Well, look what you did. You went straight up. You went straight down, right? And you're coming back down to retest this level. So this is great, right? This is what you want to see. This is at least giving you a potential look at a better entry rather than just, you know, blindly, I was going to say mindlessly, but blindly and mindlessly chasing longs, right? So this is where you really want to see that set up. Little bull flag action back to 253. That's the spot you'd like to see get defended. So not bad there on the IWM. That's sort of interesting. Here's what totally failed, right? This thing totally failed. And guess what? What did the retest do? What did the mentality to look for the retest do here, right? This is something that I want to really I want you to pay attention to here. The mentality, oh yeah, it looks okay. All right. There we go. Something was messed up over here. The mentality of the retest on this IBIT setup saved you, in my opinion, would save you in the future. Having that mindset saves you from getting, you know, sort of messed up and taking losses on a push like this that just instantly fails back lower, right? Why? Well, because we know that, we wanted to see IBIT over this 5140. We wanted to see it higher. This was our next supply level above at 53.70, right? We got the squeeze to the upside, which was great, but what do we require next? The next thing we require is the retest of the breakout point, and that was right here, right? That's the breakout point. We want a retest of that breakout point, and we want to see buying step back in here, and we want to look for that next long entry with a positive, right, risk reward on the retest long. Now, what we saw here was we got the retest, right? We came back to that level, but did we ever see any kind of strength here or some kind of consolidation or some kind of multi-day hold here to then warrant the long position? No, we did not. So you totally just missed out on, losing on a chased long here because of that mentality. Very important and something I want to continue to really be headstrong on this year because, it's easy to see IBIT straight up, think that maybe like a little pullback here is a reason to long into these supplies, and then you get this against you. When, and this ends up just being a total failure move. It's a total failure move. It's a failure retest. It's a failure move, but that doesn't mean that you need to take it and lose money. It never showed a reason, in my opinion, to then try a, retest long. So really nice. I mean, just a total failure move on IBIT, failing back under these highs. I don't like that for crypto. That's not great. So something to consider there, right? And that's why I talk about what I talk about. That's why I talk about waiting for retests on stocks and allowing things to pull back to get your entry point. Okay, let's move on. Actually, you know what? I got one more for you, and it's the Dow Jones today, guys. This one I think you want to be paying attention to. Like, I think this is really my main watch. Believe it or not, I think my main watch today is like DIA puts or YM future downside. Sincerely, like this looks really nice. Oops, sorry about that. Is it still good? Yeah, okay. So you can see right here, look at this Dow Jones, man. Look at this area right here. You have nothing, and I mean nothing, under 49,096, 49,100. If you fail this low right here, which you are failing right now as we speak, I mean, you are perfectly failing that low right now as we speak. If you continue to see failures of that low today, please look to the left. You are looking at just a, this is like a, just a desert with cobwebs, or not cobwebs, with what's those little, what are those things called? The little hay, it's not hay, I know that. It's like what are those called? Someone tell me what those are called. I don't know what they're called, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And man, that looks so interesting today. I hope that I find an entry point here and I hope that it plays. I hope it's not messy. I hope it doesn't just do some nonsense. Tumbleweeds, there we go. This is tumbleweeds right here. So looking for that, definitely going to be watching it. Let's see if it happens. Weak yesterday. Can it be weak again today through this low volume? Yeah, I would be watching that a little bit. Okay. Let's go to some equities. Tesla. So, Tesla. Man, this thing's been getting sort of shot, huh? So, Tesla, no bueno. Big rejections at these previous lows here. Look at this failure, little pop and fade yesterday. That's quite beautiful. Nice rejections in that zone here. Pretty much failing that all day. End of day dropping and sort of falling over here in the pre-market. Not looking that great, and I think you might be looking for this 414.50 again, guys, to be quite honest. I mean, that looks like the right target right here. These major lows at 414.50, you guys should remember this level. We're right back at it. We are right back at it, which is crazy. And I think that's probably where you're headed. The only thing that would hold this thing up would be 422 and the daily 100 right here. But at this point, seeing this rejection of these lows right here, that's really nasty. And I think you're looking for more downside. So hopefully we can get like a pop and fade again. That'd be great, just because I don't want to chase Tesla puts, but this looks nice. If you're holding some Tesla downside, that looks pretty damn good, man. Okay, NVIDIA, still an absolute shit show. I can't believe that I'm still saying this. It's been way too long. This is still just ridiculous. It really is quite ridiculous. Again, I don't, it's, something has changed in NVIDIA. I've talked about this for months now, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but it's true, right? It's clearly true. It clearly continues. Something has definitely changed with NVIDIA. It's definitely heavily controlled by institutional traders. There's just no way that this thing can fade this exact spot over and over again without being controlled by institutional traders. It's just not interesting anymore. Hopefully this changes, because NVIDIA used to be such a great stock to trade. But hey, I mean, I guess you could just short this level every day, and I guess you could just long this level every day, right? I mean, you really could. So, hey, I guess, you know, it is what it is. You could just short here and long here and take your money and run, or maybe set up a condor and just sit and do nothing. I guess there is a way to make money off this, but I mean, in terms of like continuation trades and beautiful momentum on this stock, that is, you know, it's, I think maybe possibly it's just overcrowded, right? I think like the entire world owns NVIDIA. There is probably a very finite amount of investors that don't have some kind of exposure to NVIDIA, right? Whether it's through an ETF, whether it's buying the stock specifically, there's just so much exposure to it that I think it just sort of killed it. So anyways, still love the stock, still love the name, but I hate the trade. I hate it. Okay, TSM, I like this pullback on TSM. It's not exactly to the all-time high that I wanted, right? I did want to pull back to 314. That was the really nice pullback that I was looking for right here. These highs right here, right? And looking for that 314 right here. That's the ideal pullback long for a little flagging pullback long here. Now, does it need to get back to there? No, it doesn't. It could definitely hold right here at 319, 321. So I would be watching this area, right? Definitely. Broadcom, really not much for me. Pretty sloppy lately, guys. I mean, really sloppy lately. So not much there. MU, nice holds here. This could definitely be a hold level to pay attention to here on MU, guys, if you want to continue to ride this momentum. I don't mind this little spot here, 333, 336. I love this spot at 328, 325, back to these highs. So maybe we get a little bit extra slip here. Maybe we get a little, you know, short trap and then the long back to these highs here. But this is definitely, you know, an immediate spot that could hold. Other semiconductors, ASML, not much. AMD, really not much at all. I really don't like AMD inside of this just chop range. I don't really see any kind of consistency there. So for me, semiconductors, I think you just ride MU. You keep watching that one. That one's obviously had the juice, right? I think you watch the TSM juice that's been going on. If you want to be trading semis, I think those are the two best ones right now. Yeah, ARM sort of just holding up down here. I still like the ARM hold. Still, you know, shares are good for me here. I still like this maintain spot. And let's continue away from semiconductors. So Apple getting murdered again. I don't know, you know, it's crazy. I've been talking about this with the group. It's the stock specific moves lately are just very confusing at times. Apple going straight down with the Nasdaq holding up, almost looking bullish. I mean, it really is bullish, right? The Nasdaq, it's technically, you know, a strong market still, right? You're not really seeing weakness, but Apple just getting sort of obliterated lately off that 277 high. And it's crazy how this happened, right? You guys probably remember this day. This day was vertically higher and vertically lower, which is just crazy. Not very often you see that type of volatility in Apple. And ever since that day, you just have seen nothing but straight down. I mean, just lower highs, lower lows the entire time. So really nice in terms of the downside move. You are coming back down to test some very important areas, right? You have these lows here. You have these lows here. So a nice demand area to be paying attention to. Some of these, you know, this consolidation area here, which you are starting to trade into. So just know that there's probably no room to be chasing Apple puts, but if you stay under this 259.59, right, and if you stay under the daily 100 SMA, you might be looking for more downside, right? You might be looking for more downside. under 259.50 and the daily 100. That's where you would look for another failure. So that's nice. Google, strong. We've been talking about 314 for weeks now. It looks like it finally is playing. Thank God it's finally playing for us. We've been talking about this 314 consolidation since, really since Christmas time, right? This 314 right here. Really, we've been talking about Google on this pullback long for a month, almost a little bit more than a month. So this has been very nice. This is really set up beautifully. The way the stock has maintained and controlled levels has been very clean, right? We maintained that 314 daily 20 SMA for quite some time. We finally got the push. And now today, there is a nice spot to look for, right? If we can hold above this 322, 324 high right here, then you should be looking for 334 here, guys, right? 332, 334. So this looks great, right? All you need to see is a nice maintain of this zone right here, 322, 324. If that can happen, I think you're going to get your 330s. So this is not a bad one right there. Amazon is another nice one. Take a look what Amazon's doing. Amazon is perfectly holding our level. Take a look at Amazon on the 4-hour chart. This looks very nice. So look at the 4-hour. This is another top watch, I'd say. Major highs, major highs, major lows, major highs, and look how perfect this hold is. That is pretty damn sexy. So this is a top watch for me today, no doubt. 240, bam, 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 bam. Really nice. Really nice. So if that can maintain, you really don't have much here until 251. And you can see on the hourly here, that level is definitely responding, right? Beautiful. So I'd be watching that. The only concern I'd have is if you do fail this level, it's going to come down aggressively. That's my only concern, right? Because this is straight up. So if you go under this, you're going to go straight down. So just make sure you know that. And it all came off of, you know what, we've been talking about Amazon for that daily 200 for a long-ass time. All came off the daily 200. Yeah, Palantir, good outperformance this morning. They had some data yesterday or something I saw, but we talked about Palantir yesterday. We talked about the reclaim of these lows and the daily 100, how it could create that opportunity long, right? And look what it did yesterday, straight up. Right on the reclaim of the daily 100 and these previous lows. Very nice. Beautiful. That's a reclaim ripper, right? You break under, you reclaim, reclaim ripper. Beautiful. Today, I mean, do you really want to trade that back into this 190 high? Maybe. I would say you'd probably want to see 190 highs turn into support. If you can get above 190, maybe you go to 196. But just know that you are definitely closer to supply than you are demand now, right? This is sort of similar to the hood. Hood, we talked about this demand low holding. It held. Where did it move up to, right? Right into supply. And guess what? Straight back down, right? So there's just not much. There has not been many like multi-day runners, right? Where it's like I can look for this over the next few weeks and I can continue to get a nice trend day over day. Hood was a 1-day long that turned into a 2-day short, right? So you still need to pay attention to levels. So like on Palantir, I like it. It looks strong, but is this going to potentially turn into a smackdown at 190 and just do this? That is exactly what it did here. It could do it again. So you just got to be aware of that, right? Make sure you got your levels set. Make sure you're aware of where it's at. Yeah, ASTS, nice spot, Chef. I like this 82 spot that it's holding. This is a good retest spot right here. Take a look at this right here, right here. Look at that retest of 82. Very nice. And guess what? This is another great example of waiting for the retest, right? Like, how many people you think chased ASTS at 98? Right up here. Oh my God, I got to get an ASTS. This thing is exploding. Guess where it comes back to? The breakout point. Right? Right back to it. So that's where you should be interested, right? Okay. Costco, honorable mention for longs over the next few weeks to months. It's a nice spot down there. WDC gave back the entire move. Another great example of why we wait for the retest. I hope to God no one chased WDC here at these highs because it went straight down all day, right back down to where we want to see that pullback. So that looks interesting. GS, another pullback long that I would be watching here. Take a look at this 4-hour chart. Look at these highs. 920. That's interesting. That's a great look. So that's another one that's sort of on the watch. Yeah, we already looked at Google. So Nasdaq futures are rejecting right at our supply. Again, right at our supply. 25,803. QQQ sitting right at that 623. SPY rejected 689.43 perfectly. ES rejecting our 69.57, 69.63. So pop and fade into supply on the data. Let's see what happens on the intraday. Sorry about the technical problems today, guys. I apologize. I wish that didn't happen, but hey, it is what it is. If you guys could, please press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'd appreciate that. MP66. MP66. Got to get above it. Got to get above 66. That's the big spot. Oh, gold? Yeah, sorry about that. Let's take a look at gold. Gold, real quick. Gold, right in demand, guys. 44.09, 44.34, right? It's sitting right in the pullback demand area. It's sitting right back at these highs. So that is a big demand spot on gold. 44.09, 44.34. Big spot. Watch it. Needs to find a little life. If it fails under 44.09 and the daily 20, you're going to go lower. But this is a very big previous high. UNH long, yeah, the shares look good. I'm just holding shares. I don't have any options. It's all right. Just letting it sit in my long term. All right, guys, that's going to be it. If you want more, join the community. Come join us. Come trade with us. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Go watch the new video from yesterday. I promise you learned something. And I will see you tomorrow. Peace and love.